So good, so good, so good.
New summer arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off brands like Rag & Bone, Levi's, Adidas, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Welcome into First Things First Overtime. We might need double overtime to get to all the news today. LeBron informs the Lakers he's not returning for this upcoming season. We will, of course, discuss. Later on, the U.S. men's national team gears up for tomorrow's knockout round. How many fireworks are we expecting? Dax McCarty will be out here in just a little bit. We'll go over to World Cup Corner. And finally, the Heat, Cavs, Warriors, maybe a mystery team. Which of those destinations are fit for a king? We get to all of it and more. Danny Parkins, Kevin O'Connor, Al Harrington with me. Thank you guys so much for the time on a busy day. Let's get to it. LeBron James, well, he's taking his talents elsewhere, to be determined. Shams Charania reporting that he told the Lakers he will not be returning to wear the purple and gold this upcoming NBA season. NBA free agency officially begins as soon as we're off the air at 6 p.m. Eastern. They're waiting for us. Jeannie Buss put out a statement today reading, LeBron James is one of the greatest athletes in history. We will always be thankful for his 8 years with the Lakers, including the title he led us to in 2020 under the toughest imaginable circumstances and the countless records he broke in purple and gold. We wish him all the best in the future, both on the court and off. He will always be a cherished part of the Lakers family. And LeBron, with a little repost and a comment, no thank you. Truly an honor to wear the purple and gold while trying to continuing the greatness and legacies that came before me. Hope I made a few proud during my stint. So there is a lot that we can get to here, guys, and most of the most interesting things I do think are looking forward. But for a moment, I want to look at his time with the Lakers. It's 8 years. It's a title. He breaks Kareem's scoring record. He takes the mic after Kobe Bryant tragically passes away and addresses the Lakers crowd. Like a lot of signature moments for LeBron as a Laker when they were coming off of, I had it here, the 5 years before he got there, 35 wins, 26 wins, 17 wins, 21, and 27 years. Sometimes there are bad feelings when LeBron leaves a franchise historically. KOC, I don't think that can be the case here. Lakers fans and the Lakers organization should be nothing but grateful to LeBron James.
I would agree with that, Danny. I remember back in 2017 when there were first rumblings about LeBron James going to LA. That was at a time where the Lakers felt like they had no direction. And LeBron James gave them a direction, and it was about trying to compete, trying to contend. Getting Anthony Davis obviously led to the championship in 2020 in the bubble. And I'm going to look back at LeBron's career with the Lakers as, A, it's hard to believe he actually stayed there 8 years, the longest stop of his entire career, but B, an overall success because he gave one of the NBA's marquee franchises meaning, purpose, turned them into a winner every single year. And even though they only won one title in those 8 years, I think it was overall a success, and I can't imagine Lakers fans will look at him down at all after deciding to leave this offseason.
I agree. I mean, when you think about what he did for this franchise, you know, he's just as, you know, I wouldn't say he's just as good as obviously some of the former Lakers, but when you look at just, you know, the 8 years there, the impact that he had on winning, the fact that to the point of when he got there in 2018, it got the conversation back to where it was supposed to be for a franchise like that, about winning championships. And then obviously the winning in 2020, especially with everything that happened in 2020, obviously with even the great Kobe Bryant passing and delivering a championship to the city of Los Angeles, there was definitely a healing moment, you know, for the city And, you know, he was a big reason for it. So I think that, you know, moving forward, even though he did, you know, win championships in Miami and in Cleveland, I think that a lot of people will look at him as a Laker. And, you know, there may be a small chance that maybe, you know, maybe he'll get a statue outside of the crypto arena as well.
Yeah, Brew always jokes about all of the statues that they have in LA. I don't know that he'll get a statue, but to your point, Al, it's not just about the counting stats, but like if we put it up there and we put up like how LeBron's Lakers tenure measures up to some of those other players, it is pretty remarkable. We're at this stage of his career. 4th in points. You've heard of Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Shaquille O'Neal. 2nd in assists behind Magic. Double-doubles. Magic, Shaq, Pow. Triple-doubles. 2nd to Magic. Like he is... Some of those are per game stats, I understand, but just in terms of overall contributions to the Lakers, I don't know that I will think of LeBron as a player of any singular team. Like he kind of was his own dynasty. He was his own era, which is what makes him special. But I still would say, Al, that he is an all-time Laker because of the title and those things that he accomplished.
I'm telling you, don't be surprised. I'm telling you, when it's all said and done, and, you know, 10 years from now, when, you know, when we're like obviously still talking about him and, you know, seeing where the Lakers are and stuff like that, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised that, you know, just to your point of like when you show those stats, the things that he was able to do in those 8 years and just all the memories, you know, the fact that a lot of the records that he broke that are all-time records, he did that in Lakers purple and gold. And I'm telling you, that means something. That means something to the Lakers fans. That means something to the league in general. And it should mean something to the Buss family and even the new ownership group of all the things that, you know, that he brought to this city and to this franchise.
And I think along those lines, as Al was saying, with everything that he accomplished in Los Angeles, the precedent is there for the Lakers. Elgin Baylor has a statue. He did not win a ring with Los Angeles. And so there's a statue for Elgin Baylor because of his accomplishments as a player on the floor for the Lakers. And I think obviously the other guys, Shaq and Kareem and Magic and Kobe, those guys have the rings argument. But with LeBron James, I think there's a precedent there for him to have a statue. And obviously, without a doubt, the jersey number will be retired. That's not even a conversation. But the statue, I think there's an argument, but I would lean towards he does end up getting one.
All right, well, so then
I wonder which number.
Yeah, which number? Yeah, sure. But the thing is, though, also, now they are left in this really interesting spot where they give Austin Reeves all of the money. They're finally going to build around Luka Doncic, which, you know, they should. 4th in MVP, led the league in scoring. As the news breaks and I was thinking about what's next for the Lakers, I was reading a story from Dave McMenamin from less than 2 weeks ago, and it had a fascinating quote from a source close to Luka. Luka wants to be a championship team yesterday, a source close to Doncic said. Ever since the trade, they've always told us summer of 26. We'll show you in the summer of 26. So we are so excited that the summer of 26 is here. End quote. Well, so now it's Luka, Austin Reeves, over $50 million in cap space, and Luka's desire for a center, for a lob threat. Everybody in the world is connecting them to Walker Kessler. Everyone in the world is connecting them, maybe into Mitchell Robinson. Obviously, Jalen Duren is going to be a very popular name. They could offer him, 4 years and $170-something million. But restricted free agents don't leave. Like, my guess is the Pistons would not want to lose Jalen Duren, who averaged nearly 20 and 10 and was 3rd-team All-NBA at 22 years old, for nothing. So my gut tells me they're going to start building for depth and kind of nibble around the edges here and ultimately come up short for those bigs, KOC. But it does feel like we will finally begin to see whatever the Lakers' vision, if they even have a vision for what a Luka Doncic-centered Lakers team is. But as we sit here today, assuming they miss out on those centers, I will be expecting the Lakers to take a step back because LeBron James was still a top 20 player in the NBA last year.
They very well could take a step back. And I mean, I would say, as that quote said from McMenamin, the summer of 26 is here, and the pressure is on Luka now that he is solely the face of the Lakers franchise, and mostly on Rob Pelinka. What is this master plan that Rob Pelinka has been building towards? He punted this past year to put a team around these guys, Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron. So what actually is the move this offseason in which we've already seen some star players on the move? It is a very shallow free agent class. Is there a trade to be made? Are you investing future draft capital? I don't know exactly what the right move is for the Lakers this offseason, given the lack of appealing options out there. And as you rightfully said, Danny, those centers are restricted free agents. Those teams, both Utah and Detroit, could match on Kessler and Duren.
Do you think they would? Do you think, because Duren was awful in the playoffs, right? He averaged 19 a game in the regular season, third team All-NBA, and then averaged 10 points per game in the playoffs. It was terrible. I still would think, even if the Lakers threw, like I said, 4 years and $175 million at Jalen Duren, I would assume that the Pistons would match. Would you, KOC?
My sources have said that right now what's happening with the stuff about the Kings with Jalen Duren and the Lakers is just Duren's camp trying to gain leverage.
Okay.
Because the Pistons have made a low offer. So I would expect the Pistons would match the offer that's out there for Jalen Duren.
This has been a failed so far free agency 26 for the Lakers. Just, let's just call a spade a spade. Obviously, signing Austin Reeves was, a priority of theirs. But, that does not put them in position to talk about winning a championship. And, to Luka's, point that 2026 is what they've been telling him, all the pressure's on him. Obviously leaving LeBron, having LeBron leave the team, there's nobody else that they can point fingers at. There's nobody else that can do an interview. And the unfortunate thing about the Lakers are like a lot like the Knicks and like the Cowboys, right? They're going to be on sports talk shows every single day, every single week. And if they're not winning, there's going to be blame point all around, which is going to be mostly at Luka and at Rob Pelinka. And, obviously with the new ownership group in there, I think that if this season doesn't start off well, I think there's going to be some major changes in this organization. But, with Luka, I actually feel bad for him because, this summer, they're just not the guys there that can have the impact that he would need to be able to get the Lakers to the next level and be able to compete for a championship, which is the reason why he's there.
So that actually brings us to the LeBron decision, because maybe LeBron's just like, he wants to win. And I found this, and this is a little bit of like how the sausage is made inside baseball, and KOC breaks plenty of stories, so he knows this. When a guy like Shams tweets something, the wording is specific. Like sometimes when the agent gets credited in the tweet, it's because the agent said, credit me in the tweet so people know how much I made. Like if we throw up how the wording came out about this, it even gave us a little bit of a pause in the office. Like, did we read this correctly? But he says, LeBron James will continue his NBA career for the 26-27 season and has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on without him. That is like an interesting way of saying, like that's a weird way of wording that. But it's like, hey, Lakers, you want to turn it over? I got no problem with Luka. I got no problem with Austin Reeves. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm reporting. But go right ahead. See if the grass is greener on the other side. And LeBron is going to go try to find a different basketball challenge. And I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised by it. Because I thought that LeBron, at this stage of his life, his business interests are in L.A. He's built his forever home in L.A. His wife and kids are in L.A. His son is on the Lakers. Like he's an all-time leading scorer. He's won a championship everywhere he went. I didn't think there was another challenge out there for LeBron, and he really did want to play the rest of his basketball career with his son on the team, playing meaningful minutes as Bronny turns himself into a legitimate NBA player, which he clearly had over the course of this season. But I think, KOC, it looks like LeBron looked around and said, I don't know, I can be a bigger factor with the ball in my hands for a team in a better position elsewhere, and LeBron is the one who ultimately initiated this.
I mean, look, what we saw towards the end of the season when Luka, Reeves, and LeBron were all healthy was pretty amazing.
It was.
They looked incredible. It was. And so we saw a flash of what it could look like. However, I also think if you're LeBron James, a lot of that was watching Luka Doncic dribble. And so if you're LeBron James, you're probably thinking, well, I want to go to a team where I can still get touches and I can still feel like I'm not just watching Luka dominate and be the guy. And Golden State sharing the ball, motion, movement, cutting. Nobody's just dominating the ball. I'd imagine that would have appeal for him. Cleveland, I'm sure, would have appeal, being a guy that would be an important piece there to go back. But ultimately, I think the Warriors are where he's going to go, and I think that's by far the most likely destination. And I'd imagine from a pure basketball standpoint, that would have more appeal to him playing there rather than with that Lakers situation with Luka's style of play. I think if Luka shared the ball and moved off ball a little bit more, it'd be more appealing to LeBron. But ultimately, I mean, like, Al, you know this as a player. Like, sometimes, like, it's nice just to get a touch and not just watch the guy dribble the air out of the ball. And I'm sure that's part of it for LeBron.
I think this came down to ego for LeBron. You know, I think that when we look at over the course of the season, there's a lot of different times where, you know, I feel like LeBron felt like he was being disrespected. I think there was like a game ball that I can't remember what he accomplished that the day where they actually gave the game ball to JJ Redick. I mean, you think about times, you know, there was times we highlighted during the season where, you know, they were, you know, other teams were going on runs. You know, JJ would call a timeout and LeBron would be, you know, lollygagging with the other team's bench instead of in the huddle. I feel like there's been trouble in paradise this entire season to the point of, you know, LeBron is obviously very professional and he's a very good player. And I think that for him, ego-wise, I think that's why he took it so personal in that first round to win that first round series by himself, to just show people like he still got it. But I think that he's definitely at the point where he's decided, like, this is his last year playing, and he wants to do what's going to make him happy. And I think what's going to make him happy ultimately is going to play with Steph Curry, you know, trying to revisit what they did, you know, with the USA team and see if they can win a championship together.
Okay, so that is – let's just do that hypothetical here for a second, because I know, Al, you're going to be here later. We're going to go through all of the possible teams. KOC, we've got you for another 5 or 6 minutes. But let's say LeBron ends up in Golden State where you guys both think he's going. But Anthony Davis is not there, right? Because they signed Porzingis, and it seems like Anthony Davis is not coming. So if it's like a Porzingis, Steph, Draymond, LeBron team, and that's the starting five in Golden State, and then there's the Luka, Austin Reeves, and whatever the Lakers put around them with over $50 million in cap space, which is the better basketball team? Because I buy LeBron would have more fun playing with his friends Steph and Draymond, but I don't know that it is a guarantee that the Warriors are better than the Lakers next year, Kevin.
It's not a guarantee. I mean, I think there's a lot of still uncertainty with the Lakers and how they're going to fill out that roster as well with shooters and with a center. Whereas with this Warriors roster, they do still have pretty good depth. There's some solid guys off the bench as well on that team. They drafted Axel Lindenborg, a 24-year-old rookie, Guy Santos, solid depth on that team as well. But ultimately, I'd feel a lot better about the Warriors if they did flip Jimmy Butler for Anthony Davis. And I know Anthony, but like, to me, that was part of it. When I reported that on Sunday, it was LeBron plus AD was the Warriors' intentions, and that seems to have changed in the days since. So if it's just LeBron James and then maybe Jimmy Butler in February? Where are you in the standings at that point? If LeBron and Steph and Draymond are, missing games here and there, and Jimmy Butler, who knows if he needs a ramp up when he comes back. There are legitimate questions about how good that Warriors team could be compared to a Luka-driven team with the ball in his hands. We know there's a high floor for a team like that, whereas the Warriors, they've been in the play-in literally every year for the last 4 years now.
I mean, I like the Warriors. I still just think there's a lot of questions out there regarding Luka and, one, availability, and then obviously leadership, right? But then I also can flip that over to the Golden State side, too, is the fact that with LeBron at the age that he is, Steph Curry will be 39 years old this season. Draymond's getting a little older. They all talk about the speed of the game, and I think it's because of the speed of the game that now, at this point in their career, they keep getting hurt all the time. Right. So because of that, I think that both sides, is like a 50-50 thing. But I would say I would pick the Warriors just because of, the veteran leadership, because all those guys have championship pedigree. And when it comes down to it, they know how to win and they know how to get things done and they know how to piece together a 5 or 10 game win streak when they have to. So because of that, I would definitely side with the Warriors being a better team overall, no matter who they sign, to be honest, on the Lakers.
Wow. All right. Well, there is another piece of breaking news out of Los Angeles. Shams also reporting that the Clippers are nearing a deal to send Kawhi Leonard back to Toronto in exchange for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks. At one time, this trade was reported to just have 1 first in it, a pick swap, and 2 second-rounders. Kawhi, of course, spent 1 season in Toronto with the Raptors. It was pretty good. He won the NBA championship when he was there. This feels like a trade that makes a ton of sense for both teams. Al, I guess I will start with you. When you saw that there is a homecoming for Kawhi Leonard to Toronto, what was your reaction?
This is an interesting move there. I think Toronto has some really good young pieces. You see the way that they battle, with the Cavs, this year in the playoffs, taking them, to a Game 7. Obviously, Kawhi is a special talent. Obviously he's a 2-time champion. Both times he won the championship, he played with other great players, and he was the MVP. So he is a guy that can propel that team, to the next level. And then you think about the Eastern Conference, it's a little bit more of an even playing field. So you add a Kawhi, to the Toronto Raptors. Now they have a chance to, get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I like the move for Toronto, especially when you look at, what they currently have. And, for Kawhi, it just seems like it's probably just a better time for him to get out of LA and do something different, because just the Clippers experience just didn't really work or didn't pan out the way I think, he did or the organization.
Definitely couldn't have expected this return for Kawhi Leonard 1 year ago if you were the Los Angeles Clippers. Even early in the season, November, December, there's no chance you could have anticipated getting this. I mean, it looked bad when he first came back from that injury earlier in the season. So good for the Clippers to get this, move on from Kawhi Leonard, that whole drama this last half decade. Good for them. But for the Raptors at the same time, this is a win to get him, because this is an elite defense. That what were they missing in that Game 7 loss against Cleveland was an end-of-game scorer, a guy who could get a bucket for you, and Kawhi Leonard is still elite at that, from three-point range, from mid-range, getting to the rim. And so Kawhi Leonard adds precisely what the Raptors were missing on the offensive end, while also not disturbing their defensive DNA. And so I think he fits perfectly into this Raptors team, really accelerates things for them, and puts them in position to be one of the top teams in an increasingly loaded Eastern Conference. The East is looking good all of a sudden. And so I think for the Raptors, this is a worthy risk, even though Kawhi's 35, even though he's getting an extension. I love them going for it. I love the aggression.
I'm with you. This is overly simplistic. But I do want to just put Kawhi Leonard's points and percentages on the screen for anyone who wasn't totally locked in. The dude averaged 28 points a game on nearly 50, 40, 90 splits, and he just turned 35 years old. He made second-team All-NBA. Kawhi was fantastic. He qualified. He played enough games, 65, he just hit the threshold, to qualify for postseason awards, and he was voted a top 10 player in the NBA, and no one debated it. Like, everyone was like, yeah, Kawhi Leonard was a top 10 player in the NBA last year. So it's like a mercenary trade. Yes, they're paying a lot in terms of capital for a 35-year-old player, but he was there for 1 year before, and he delivered a championship. They're saying Giannis is staying east. LeBron might be coming east. Who knows? And Boston, we'll see what happens with Jaylen Brown. We'll see what happens with the Knicks. Toronto, I easily could see them being a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. And then if Kawhi is healthy, he's one of the great playoff performers. Kevin O'Connor, thank you as always. We appreciate the time. Al, I know you're hanging around, but we are going to go to World Cup Corner next, where we are expecting fireworks from Team USA tomorrow. Dax McCarty joins the show coming up. And the countdown clock is on. Mexico and Ecuador from Mexico City, just over 3.5 hours away. The winner faces either England or DR Congo in Mexico City on July 5th. But Mexico, Ecuador coming up in just over 3.5 hours on Fox.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
The knockout stage is off to a great start so far, and Fox has even more for you. Catch Chef Nick, After Hours with James Corden, our FIFA World Cup correspondent Jameis Winston, and more on our YouTube pages. Fox has got it all for you on Fox. But also, we love countdown clocks here at Fox, and everyone should implement more countdown. Look at these fans. They're like 3.5 hours, give me 9.5 hours. They've been partying all day. Mexico and Ecuador from Mexico City, just over 3.5 hours away, coming up on Fox. Welcome back to First Things First Overtime. Dax McCarty joins me now in the World Cup corner. Let's talk knockout round action. USA taking on Bosnia tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. So far, this knockout stage has presented us with game winners, upsets, and a lot of penalty kicks. I feel like we're getting penalty kicks all over the place. U.S. men's national team captain Tim Ream was asked about the preparation for those scenarios ahead of tomorrow's match. Take a listen.
We're fully prepared. I saw something the other day, I think it was yesterday, that obviously we covered more distance than any team in the tournament so far. So I think that says a lot about where we are physically, which also says a lot about where we are mentally. So I think we're absolutely where we want to be and ready to go for whatever happens.
There is some school of thought that Bosnia.
Fire me up, Tim.
Yeah, that Bosnia is just going to try to just get to PKs, right? Because increase the randomness as a big underdog here. So take it any direction. Your expectations for the U.S. tomorrow?
Yeah, well, my expectations are for the U.S. men's national team to win the game. That's pretty plain and simple. Now, in order to get there, I think a couple things have to happen. The first of which was exactly what we have been seeing coming out of the U.S. men's national team camp all week long. Respect your opponent, which is something that we quite frankly haven't always seen from I think, national media with regard to how difficult of an opponent Bosnia is going to be.
Yeah, we're probably not helping when it's like, you got to get to the quarterfinals, you're a huge favorite here, right?
But that is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to set what our expectations are for this team, and internally they can either block it out, they can they can get a little bit maybe too high or too low,
sure.
But they have to block all that noise out, and they have to respect their opponent, which they absolutely have. They know that Bosnia is going to provide a stiff test. And if the knockout stage has taught us anything through 5 games, I think 6 going on right now with France, Sweden, it's that the margins are extremely thin. It doesn't matter if you're the overwhelming favorite. It doesn't matter if you're the underdog. Everybody has a chance at the World Cup to do something special. Bosnia should be no different. I love the messaging coming out of the U.S. men's national team camp right now. But the other side of it is you have to start the game quick. I would love to see the U.S. men's national team continue this trend of starting the game on the front foot with a lot of energy. Tim Ream talked about how they've ran the most in the competition. That really manifests itself in a lot of dangerous chances in the beginning of the game. They've scored 2 goals very early. When all of their starting 11 had played. Even when their reserves came into the game against Turkey, they scored an early goal. That sets the tone. That gets the crowd involved in the game. It gets everybody confident in wanting to play. My big question mark for this game is what happens against Bosnia if it doesn't go your way? How do you respond if you don't score an early goal? I really love all the different messaging coming out of the U.S. men's national team camp right now.
So the messaging is one thing, but I always try to delineate between like actions and words. Like, like, do you think Brazil overlooked Japan because they're down 1-0? Like, or we could say there isn't that big of a talent gap anymore, right? We saw it with Germany getting the upset. We saw Netherlands with their strategy. Like, anybody can beat anyone on any given day. There are not that many scoring opportunities in soccer. It increases the randomness. It's obviously now single elimination. We are in the knockout round. So I feel like the messaging is one thing, but what are you going to be looking for in terms of actions early in the game to be like, oh, okay, good. They're not overlooking this team.
How do the U.S. manage transition moments from Bosnia? I think the U.S. men's national team is absolutely going to dominate possession in this game. You're going to see a very similar contrast in game plan to what happened in the first 2 games. Against Paraguay, U.S. men's national team dominated possession, dominated chances. Against Australia, the U.S. men's national team dominated possession, dominated chances, but their defensive structure, their repress, the coordination of the center backs and the defenders and the midfielders to go hunt the ball as soon as they lost it, that is the platform from which this team has been successful in this tournament. They have absolutely suffocated opponents, to Tim Ream's point about running more. And that is a mindset. That is a mentality. That's excellent coaching. Bosnia, they aren't going to provide you a massive threat when they have the ball in possession. But with their wingers, they have 2 very young, dynamic, tricky, technical wingers in Alabegovic and Esmir Bajraktarevic, who they can cause you problems if you're a little bit loose in your rest defense, if you lose track of them, if you lose the ball, if you're sloppy in possession. It's absolutely a problem for the U.S. men's national team. And the other area is set pieces. Bosnia is actually the tallest team in the tournament by average height. They are absolutely going to look for set-piece opportunities. They're going to look to take advantage of any chance they can get to throw numbers in the box and just create chaos.
So I'm going to show you 2 graphics, and then I have a question for you on the back end of it, because what you're going to say is that this is not helpful, but I'm not trying to help. I'm just trying to contextualize it.
Sure.
Like, to me, it feels like these are 2 teams that are in just different classes of programs, which is why the U.S. is such a big favorite. And to your point, it reminds me of the Paraguay and the Australia game. Like, Bosnia's ranking in terms of possessions and shots is very similar to the first 2 matches where the U.S. won 4-1 and 2-0 and controlled both of those games. Turkey is a clear outlier in terms of the first 4 opponents. And then if you take it a step further with the U.S. against Bosnia and you look at what it has been over the last year, the U.S. has 3 top 20 wins. Bosnia has 1. The U.S. has 7 top 50 wins. This is according to the FIFA ranking. Bosnia has 2. 8 top 100 wins. Bosnia's wins are against the bad teams, and 3 of their wins in the last year are from teams ranked outside of the top 100. So it feels like, based on resume, talent, stylistically, these teams are in different classes. I guess my question is, if Bosnia gets the early goal and goes up 1-0, and if a call goes against the U.S. and there's a bad luck yellow card and frustration comes in, whatever the case may be, it feels like the margin of error should still be in their favor, that even if a few things go poorly, the U.S. should be able to still win the game.
They should, because I agree with you. They are the better team for all the reasons that you just listed there, but also because they experienced a little bit of adversity in that game against Turkey. And I know that was a rotated team, and it was a lot of reserves playing and not a ton of the guys who I expect to start the game. But that still manifests itself in the reaction in the second half. That was a great reaction in the second half from the U.S. men's national team. The way that they went after the game, the mentality to go after Turkey, a very good Turkey team. Bosnia is not going to present the same type of threats, but this game is going to come down to a couple of the different factors. And I promise you that this is not bulletin board material. This is just objectively what I see as almost inarguable. The U.S. men's national team is more talented. They've got numerous players playing in the UEFA Champions League. They're more experienced. This is Bosnia-Herzegovina's first situation where they will be in a knockout stage game in the World Cup. The U.S. men's national team has that experience already. After losing to the Netherlands, 13 players returning. They already have the experience of what a big game feels like. They have the better coach, and that's no disrespect to Sergei Barbarez, but Mauricio Pochettino, one of the best coaches in the world. Barbarez, actually, funnily enough, is his first coaching job. He used to be a professional poker player. Just a little fun fact. I'm sure Nick Wright would love that one. And then
he's a semi-professional.
They are playing at home. That is the main factor. The U.S. men's national team is playing at home in front of the wonderful fan base that we have. There are no excuses for the U.S. men's national team to not win this game.
Okay. You've just provided bulletin board material.
I don't think so. I don't think I have.
Well, you can't say on the front end, I don't want this to be bulletin board material. It actually attracts the bulletin boards. LeBron James, we know he's taking his talents back to South Beach or to Northeast Ohio. It's kind of the same. We'll discuss all the destinations for LeBron coming up. And we have passed the 3.5-hour mark. Mexico and Ecuador from Mexico City. Mexico won 3 straight games in the group stage for their first time ever. That game coming up tonight on Fox.
Introducing Taco Bell's new jalapeno citrus salsa. With bright citrus, real red jalapenos, guajillo chiles. Usually, you add sauce to the food, but when the sauce is this good, the food is just there to get the sauce to your mouth. That rolled quesadilla, not a rolled quesadilla anymore. Now it's a sauce shovel. Taco Bell's jalapeno citrus salsa. Get it with any item on the Cantina chicken menu while it's here. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only. While supplies last. Contact store for availability.
Tomorrow, Christian Pulisic and Team USA takes on Bosnia-Herzegovina. You can catch it all tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Welcome back to the OT. Al Harrington is back with us. LeBron today told the Lakers he will not be returning next season. So, Shams Charania reports that teams such as the Cavs, the Heat, the Warriors, they're all expected to begin their pursuit of LeBron James. These are the official odds for LeBron's next home. The Spurs, a dark horse 20-1 team on the list. But let's go through some of these, Al, and start in Cleveland, where LeBron started his career, left, came back, brought home a trophy. If he were to join the Cavs, it's fun to project what a starting five would look like. This is barring no other trades of the core guys. Allen and Mobley in the front court, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James. James Harden reportedly is interested in doing some things for salary flexibility right now. So the idea of LeBron returning to Cleveland, I'll be honest, I love it. I think it's storybook. Where it began, where it ends. You do things with Max Strus and Dennis Schroeder to free up some money. You figure out a way to get a little bit more perimeter defense in there. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell spread the floor. Yes, Harden likes the ball in his hands. Yes, Mitchell likes the ball in his hands. I know that. But Mobley and Allen is an elite defensive front court. You're in the Eastern Conference, and you can bookend your career. I think Cleveland makes a ton of sense to actually win. I know we're going to talk about the storybook stuff and the fun of playing with some of these other teams, but in terms of a path to winning a title, I actually think Cleveland is the one that makes the most sense to win immediately.
It makes a lot of sense. I think we talked about this, when they were in the playoffs and playing against the Knicks, like what were they missing, right? And a guy like LeBron is definitely someone that you would consider that they're missing, right? He obviously is an ultimate facilitator. He's a leader. He's a champion, right? And that's what those guys are honestly missing. And to your point of like the fact that James wants the ball in his hands and Donovan wants the ball in their hands, in the playoffs, they've shown that like when the game gets a little tight, they're willing to pass it off to somebody else. And, LeBron would be the perfect guy for that to happen, especially with the way that this team is constructed. They do have shooters everywhere. They do have big guys down low that can, they're lob threats. On the defensive side, they can cover up a lot of mistakes for all three of those guys, because all three of them at this point in their careers are a little lackadaisical on the defensive end and have their issues. So I do like Cleveland as a last stop for him, because I have to believe that this 24th season will be his last season. And I feel like in the Eastern Conference, playing with that team, especially the last 2 years, the regular seasons that they've been able to have, definitely adding him to that would definitely put them in a position to really compete for a championship.
Well, listen, I know we're all, day to day. So LeBron is year to year. But maybe he's going to play 25 years, and he's going to a team now for the next 2. Why not? If he can make it 24, he can make it 25. Let's go to another option for LeBron as we imagine this. Could he be taking his talents back to South Beach? That phrase is just going to get repeated. It's coming back. The starting five in Miami, hypothetical, Al, would look a little something like this now that Andrew Wiggins is back in the fold. Davion Mitchell, LeBron, Andrew Wiggins, and you want to talk about a defensive front court, Giannis and Bam. You like this reunion for LeBron?
Well, let's start with that. That's a top 2 defensive team right there. We look at those guys, right? It'll be very tough to score on them on a night in and night out basis. My only concern with this team is the shooting. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know they have Norman Powell. Bobby Portis came over, so they do have a couple guys that can make shots. But there, I'm just kind of concerned on like how the ball will be spread around. But this one, another one that can make a lot of sense. Obviously when he left Miami, he didn't leave in good graces, especially with Pat Riley. And I know that Pat Riley made that move for Giannis to try to win right now. So I could see him definitely being super aggressive, trying to bring LeBron back in the fold. Because if you put LeBron back in Miami with those guys, you put LeBron pretty much anywhere, you give yourself a chance to win at the highest level, and which is trying to compete for a championship.
LeBron's a basketball genius. He makes everybody better, right? It is a remarkable thing. If he's still a top 20 player in the league, he was 21-7-7 last year. His numbers went up in the playoffs. They won a playoff series. Clearly, he makes any team better at this stage. It is interesting that LeBron would be the spacing for Miami. Andrew Wiggins had an amazing three-point shooting year. Bam likes to shoot the threes, but I wonder how much in this would be, okay, LeBron, you've got to be the facilitator and we need you to be a 40% three-point shooter, there's just not enough spacing and enough shooting there where I think it would be fun. I think it would be interesting. They obviously would be better, but I don't think it's the best year one basketball fit because of what you're talking about. But all right, let's say LeBron wants to go ahead, Al. Sorry.
No. I was just going to agree with you. This is probably my third best opportunity for him in my mind. But, him down in Miami, obviously he got a championship coach. Pat Riley's definitely, you think about even back in the day when he brought the Big Three down there, every year they were signing 1-year deals with super impactful players. So he knows how to navigate a storm like this. So, if he did choose to go down there, I'm sure Pat Riley could figure out how to make sure that they were competitive.
All right, well, let's just say LeBron wanted to get out of L.A., but he's just hell-bent on staying in California. Reports yesterday were the Warriors were pursuing LeBron and Anthony Davis. Today, Chris Haynes is saying it looks like the Wizards are not interested in trading for AD. The Warriors end up signing Porzingis, but Golden State is still the heavy favorite to land LeBron's services in Vegas. So this is now what the imagined starting five would look like. No AD, but swap in Porzingis. A lot of age, a lot of injury risk, Al. Do you like LeBron in Golden State with that being the core five?
Do I like it? Honestly, no. I don't like it. I don't want to see him and Steph Curry on the same team.
Wow.
For my own personal reason. I don't know. I just feel like they're supposed to always be competing against each other. They're not supposed to be playing together. But I also did watch the Olympics, and I saw how exciting it was watching those two go out there and, play beautiful basketball. Right?
LeBron said on his podcast before that Steph was the one guy he wanted to play with, and then after he played with Steph, he said it was like perfect basketball. Like, he clearly loves playing with Steph Curry.
I think it's something there. It's something in the water, right? When you think about Draymond opting out, which obviously gave them flexibility to go out and sign somebody, right? When you look at who's out there to sign, I think LeBron's the only guy that kind of fits their needs right now. So I think that right now they probably have a one-up out of all the teams currently to land them. And if they do get together, it'll be fun basketball to watch. But I still don't think that team constructed the way it is right now will be enough to win a championship or even get out the West.
I agree. I don't think that team can win big. I think if he does that, it is why a lot of people take jobs late in their careers, because you want to hang out with your friends and have fun. So I'm not going to begrudge him it, but I don't think he can win. All right, I'm going to give you one out. Let's just turn off realism here for a second, okay? This is probably not going to happen. What about LeBron James going to Washington? Here's the case. Anthony Davis is one of his best friends in the NBA. They won a title together. They just drafted A.J. Debinsa, who people think is a do-everything player who's going to be relevant in the league for 15 years. I could see the narrative of, LeBron taught me how to be a pro, and, in the year 2050, A.J. is still talking about LeBron's impact on him. LeBron has been praising Trae Young's game since the McDonald's All-American game. The quotes are all over the internet of how much LeBron believes in Trae Young. Sarr, Keontae George, Trey Johnson, athleticism, front court defense along with AD, depth, and bonus thing here, he can go to Washington like Jordan did, except do it better at the end of his career. It's probably not going to happen. I'm just saying, it makes some sense if you think about it.
I got 2 words. Hell no.
Okay.
He has to worry about his legacy, right? And when you think about Cleveland, he started there, won Miami, and then to the Lakers. He can't go to the Wizards after that. I say no way, no shot.
All right, well, I tried to sell you on it. It almost assuredly will not happen. Also, you go to the East, the easier conference. Their head coach was an assistant with the Lakers in the lead-up before they ended up winning the title. I'm just saying, if it doesn't happen, this clip never makes it to the internet. But if it happens, I'm a genius.
Yeah, right. You're the guy.
I'm not that. Yeah, just staking out that corner of things that's never going to happen. All right, I'll give you my final thoughts 10 minutes ahead of free agency opening on LeBron leaving the Lakers. The countdown clock, though, is going 3 hours and 9 minutes. Mexico, Ecuador, from Mexico City. Knockout round is here. Check it out tonight on Fox.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Countdown clock off and running. Mexico, Ecuador tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. Knockout stage is here. Check it out on Fox. The winner faces England or DR Congo on July 5th. Well, the news of the day, LeBron James told the Lakers that he will not be returning for the upcoming season, and we don't yet know where he is going. But what I do think is worth mentioning and pointing out right now is that wherever he goes, whether it's Golden State, Miami, Cleveland, or somewhere else, LeBron has entered the post-criticism stage of his career. I mean, honestly, at this point, he leaves Cleveland to Miami. People didn't like it. Fine. He goes to 4 championships. He wins 2. He rights the wrong. He goes back to Cleveland. He delivers a title. Then he goes to L.A. and delivers them a title. He's literally won everywhere he's gone. And if you still have criticism for a 22-time All-Star who is 21-time All-NBA player with 4 titles and 4 MVPs, who's the all-time scoring leader, who was playing meaningful NBA minutes with his son this year, one of the most remarkable things we have ever seen. He's playing with his son, and we're like, you know what? I need a new challenge. It's unbelievable that LeBron is still a difference-making, franchise-altering player at this stage of his career. So I have to imagine that wherever he goes, there's actually not going to be criticism that follows this move. Tomorrow we'll be on after Belgium and Senegal. Thanks for staying with us on the OT.